Hey everyone, it's Alex here from Ninja Teacher, and I'm here with my buddy Danny. We're out here in Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam, and I thought I'd grab him and shoot a quick video to chat about his experiences living out here, because he's lived out here a couple of times on separate occasions, 3 times in total now, I think it is.
3 times, yeah.
So yeah, we'll get some insights on his experiences out here, what he's doing, and maybe you can tell us a little bit so that you can get a sense of what it's like to live in the city, and get some insights into whether it's something you'd want to do coming out to live here, and maybe teach English if that's something you're considering doing. So yeah, thanks for coming on the video with us, Danny.
Thanks for having me, man. It's been about a year since we last hung out, so it's good to be back in town and good to hang out again.
Yeah.
This is it's my 3rd year in Ho Chi Minh, and every time I come back, it's I learn a little bit more about myself and a little bit more about the city, and really happy to be back, especially this time, and I plan to stay for a little bit longer this time, about a year. And so I think you asked me before we started talking why I keep coming back, and I never actually sat down and thought about it. I have a lot of friends here. I've made a lot of friends over the years, and that's a big draw. But I think there's something about this city particularly, and you can probably relate to me here, but there's definitely something unique about Ho Chi Minh that has a gravity that I really like. The more I come back, the more I start to see why I start to become more conscious of those things that draw me back, for sure.
Nice. Cool. Let's dive into a couple of those things, and to give everyone a bit of a backstory. Actually, Danny and I were in the same online fitness coaching program. We had the same mentor, Mario Termic. He's got a YouTube channel, check him out. Very cool guy, and we connected through that. And then it turned out we were both in the same city. When I first came out here, I was actually in Hanoi, and Danny was in Ho Chi Minh City, and I came down here, and we actually stayed together for, I think it was about a month in your old apartment and here in Ho Chi Minh City, which was cool. We got to hang out a bit, and then since then I've been in Ho Chi Minh City, and Danny actually left and came back again. So just to go back to the 3 times you've been here, I know one of the things you mentioned, which was pretty cool, is each time you come back you get over that initial experience of settling in faster. Maybe you can tell people a bit about that.
Yeah, totally. I think whenever you move to a new place, whether it's overseas or just in the US or Europe, it could be close to home, it could be really far away. There's a period where you're just getting used to a new place, and it takes a while. It might take some people a few days. It might take up to a few months sometimes to really acclimate, and it can be a bit of a culture shock, but that's a fun thing. It's a fun thing to experience, that kind of your perception's changing, you're exposed to a lot of new stimuli, and you're really kind of learning a new area. It's a really fun experience, and I think each time I've come back, there's less of that. I'm used to it, and I get settled in a lot faster to the things I like, to the places I like to go, to my gym, my favorite restaurants, where my friends hang out, all that stuff. I pick it up very quickly, but so that kind of honeymoon effect of moving to a new place isn't as strong this time around, but that's kind of a cool thing too. It's kind of a cool thing. It's I'm seeing kind of the deeper levels of friendship and connection with the local culture that I hadn't experienced the first time, because I was so like kind of kid in a candy store walking around with all the new sights and sounds. So yeah, this time definitely I've settled in much more quickly.
That's really cool, and I think that's something that I've actually talked a lot about on the YouTube channel, is how like when you live in a place for an extended period of time, you really get to experience the culture more and get a feel for the place and settle in to a level that if you're just traveling to somewhere for that first week, it's fun and exciting in the beginning, but you don't get to that level of really getting to know the people, getting settled in, knowing all like the secret spots and stuff like that. So like you said, I think both is cool, is getting that first time effect, but also once you've been in a country for an extended period of time, you get that second experience of it almost. So yeah, that's really cool. So what are some of the things then that you do like about the city that's brought you back a few times?
So I quit my job to start traveling and working online about 2.5 years ago or so, and in that time, I don't really tally up countries or anything like that, but I visit a lot of places in North America, South America, Europe, Southeast Asia. I've traveled to a lot of countries, and Ho Chi Minh has like a special place in my heart. And if I was going to give the short answer, I think it would be that there's a very unique, special kind of energy here that I haven't found anywhere else in the world. And I have a lot of the world left to see, so everywhere is different. But this city particularly has this unique blend. And if I was going to try to explain it to somebody, I think I would say that it's the perfect combination of quality of life, cost of living, and the ability to work really hard and play really hard too. So there's we both work online, and we're surrounded by a lot of people that work online and are building businesses, and that's a lot of effort, and it's especially when you're first starting out, it takes a lot of energy. So to be surrounded by people that are also doing that, it's you're kind of carried with that energy, and it's really motivating to kind of hustle harder. On the flip side of that, the nightlife here and the culture and the cafe culture is something that's really, really unique. Like the amount of really cool hidden cafes and great food and great places to work and co-working spaces. Are we on top of a co-working space right now? Something like that?
Pretty much.
Cool. There's just so many of them that it's like, it's everybody's working hard, but there's also like this really kind of like unique culture that of play that's infused in all that work. That explains it.
I totally agree. And I think to add on top of that, a nice way to describe it is it's got that warmth and craziness and energy of Southeast Asia, but it's got a lot of modern aspects to it. Like a lot of the nightlife are fancy sky bars and like cool places to go. The coffee shops are really nice. So you get that balance between modern and also cheap Southeast Asia, warmth, vibrance, and all of that. To give everyone a bit of context, Danny works online, and myself too now, since I've been placing people in jobs in Asia, teaching English jobs and offering teaching English courses and stuff like that. So I've transitioned from teaching myself to doing that, and I think a lot of people who want to come out here to teach English want to do it not forever. They want to do it for a certain period of time and then maybe transition into something else. And a lot of people say those people shouldn't teach English because they're not passionate about it or whatever. I don't really agree with that. I think if you're doing it wholeheartedly and putting a lot of effort into it, and you get a good training and you teach and you put everything into it, and then you want to transition to something else, that's totally cool. And one of the nice things about Vietnam with the teaching scene here, I'm not sure if you know this, but you can teach like 20 hours a week. And then I know a lot of people that are doing that and then using their spare time to work on side businesses or side projects and stuff. So I've actually had quite a few people talking to me about how they want to come out and teach for a while and start to work on a project on the side. So, I mean, you're working full-time online, so maybe you can tell people what you're doing and how you've financed living in different countries and are actually financing living in Ho Chi Minh City now.
Sure. So I've been working online for, I don't know, about 3 or 4 years before I even quit my job, which was back in Chicago about 3 or 4 years ago. And funny enough, I had a lot of friends out of college that started teaching English in Asia, and I always thought it was kind of weird. I don't know why. I guess I was really traditional. I always saw myself as I was going to go to med school, and then I ended up working for kind of a big corporate marketing agency, and I never even considered teaching English. And then I got out to Asia, and the first kind of year of working online, I was really bootstrapping. And it was actually kind of tough because I had a few clients back in the US that I was using, I was using income from those clients to basically survive in Asia. And then I saw English teachers out here, some of our friends, one of your former roommates, or my former roommates, and she was kind of living. She was enjoying herself. She wasn't overworking, trying to like grind out a business. She was living very comfortably and having a great time, kind of exploring Ho Chi Minh and the rest of Vietnam on her teacher salary. And she built a pretty cool drop shipping business on the side in a very low stress kind of way. And here I was like, grinding out with these particular clients, very stressed out a lot of the time. Kind of supporting myself, and if I had kind of seen that path to teaching, I probably would have taken it early on. Mm-hmm. I think things worked out just fine. Now, to give everybody an idea, I have a kind of a nutritional supplement business. That's my main source of income, and then I have a few other side businesses as well, an apparel company, and a small group of marketing clients that I still help. So a lot of maybe a few other entrepreneurs, or I guess online business people, a hodgepodge of projects that I'm working on. But I made it to the point where I'm comfortable, things are growing, I'm happy. But if I was starting out again, I probably would have gone the teaching route.
That's interesting, yeah. And that's something that I also found with myself, is like I really enjoyed the teaching, and I think what I did was I was really excited about growing Ninja Teacher as a business and helping other people have that opportunity to come and do it. But I think I stopped teaching too soon. I taught in South Korea, and then I was starting to teach a bit in Vietnam, and then I was like, no, I'm going to go fully into this business stuff and just stop the teaching, which actually was quite tough because finances were low and stuff. But if you're working like 20 hours a week on teaching, and then you've got like another 20 hours a week you could be working on business, I think that's a good idea.
I think one more thing about that is there's almost this kind of like joke in like I don't want to say like digital nomad community that it's almost better to be a bartender in Southeast Asia than it is working like a 9-to-5 job back home. Because it's so much less stressful, and you have all this free time to work on other projects that are more interesting to you. I think that's like teaching English in Asia is actually a really unique position because you make a pretty good salary relative to the cost of living. And I see a lot of friends back home, including one guy who moved out here, that they had a corporate job or corporate lifestyle, kind of like myself, and then or any kind of job, and then eventually they ended up teaching English anyway. So it's like that kind of segment of being able to work maybe like 20 hours a week, 30 hours a week, make pretty good money, and then still be able to have enough time to explore the culture, the city, the country you're living in, and have time to work on side projects. That's actually like a unique way of being happy.
Yeah.
And a unique way of being happy in a way that allows you to focus on those longer term projects and businesses. So
absolutely,
it's a cool opportunity for sure.
And it's side projects, whether it's a business one or if it's just a hobby. If you've got like I know a couple of musicians that really just want to spend more time playing music or working on creative projects or hobbies or sports and stuff like that. I think the lifestyle when you're living out in Asia does afford you that kind of time to do that. So related to that, like, what are some of the things you like about living in Ho Chi Minh City that you can do in your free time and that kind of stuff?
Ho Chi Minh has it all, man. It really does. Like, I'm a really big fitness guy. You may not notice I look probably pretty scrawny on camera, but I do love going to the gym. I love exercising. So here you can pretty much for very cheap join like any sort of martial arts gym you want. The gym I go to has like BJJ, Muay Thai, boxing, yoga. I do a lot of yoga, and kind of the flexibility to do all that for super cheap is something that I think is a unique spot in Asia. I know there's some of that in Thailand and other Southeast Asian countries, but particularly here, I feel like it's all condensed, so it's all there. I don't have to move very far to have access to all of it. And one thing that is I think unique to Vietnam more recently, that Thailand may have had for a few years, maybe a little bit longer, but certainly isn't as prevalent in like the Philippines or Indonesia or other Southeast Asian countries, is access to healthy food. It seems like Vietnamese people this is still a communist country, but it's actually considered one of the most free market economies in the world. And I think Vietnamese people are very open-minded when it comes to changing their lifestyle to something that works better. And in this case, it's healthy eating. So I used to a friend of mine a couple of years ago here. We were going on a date, and I thought we'd try some local food together, and she just said, no. You want to eat this local food, not that local food. So she was very conscious of where to go and what to eat, and that's definitely not the case in other countries in Southeast Asia. So for someone like me who lives a very, I guess, active, healthy lifestyle, being around other health conscious people, both in the expat community and also the locals, is really important.
Nice.
Something I really value.
Yeah, lots of smoothie bars have opened up over the last couple of years, and we were just chatting about one of our favorite ones. It's in the center of Ho Chi Minh City called Juicy. You can get like all sorts of green smoothies and like healthy plates of vegetables and stuff like that. It's a good spot to go.
Love Juicy.
Juicy's
one of my
best.
favorites. I don't think the owner of Juicy knows that she's getting all this free PR.
Yeah, exactly.
She's just confused as to why so many people keep showing up to her shop. But, yeah, it's great.
Cool, man. Well, yeah, I think that's helpful for a lot of people just to get a bit of insights. Any kind of last words that you'd want to give to someone that's maybe considering making the move out here, whether it's to come out and start their own online business or teach English, or and I know it's a big move for a lot of people, and for us, when we've traveled for a while, and like you said, each time it becomes almost a bit easier to settle in, we forget that it's a tough thing for a lot of people. So what would your advice be to someone who's coming out here for the first time, maybe even traveling for the first time, but specifically Ho Chi Minh City? What would you say to someone like that?
You're gonna have an awesome time. I'd say beyond that, just expect that everybody you meet is gonna be very warm and open. When I first started traveling, I was really new to travel in general, and I was really new to online business, and I thought I had very little to offer people. I had very little to talk about, and it didn't matter. It was, I think, being part of this kind of like traveling community, everybody, no matter how much money you're making, how old you are, what kind of lifestyle you have, everybody's very warm and welcoming of just you as someone who's traveling, and everybody just wants to share ideas, have fun, have a good time, no matter whether you're new or you've been doing it for years. So don't be afraid to put yourself out there. Probably the best part about travel is meeting new people and and making new friends. And you know, some of the friendships that I've made here in Vietnam are friends that I'm gonna have for life. So it's one of the best decisions I've ever made.
Awesome. Yeah, that's good advice. And yeah, I know you're thinking of maybe doing a bit more content yourself next year. So if someone wants to follow your stuff, where can they find you?
You can check out my personal blog. It's danfries.net, just DANFRIES.net. There's not much there, but you know, it's some travel stories and some kind of some business philosophies. So if you're into that stuff, feel free to check it out.
Cool. Yeah. So if you found this helpful, give it a big thumbs up and make sure to subscribe. And yeah, thanks a lot.
Cheers,
we'll get this out to some people, and maybe we'll meet some people that come out because of this, and they'll be like, spot you and be like, hey, saw that guy.
I'll just see you and what you know. Cheers, man. Thanks for having me.
Cool.